How's it going, guys? Cody back again, dropping yet another video. Right, guys, we're back doing what we're doing now. We're back dropping videos and stuff. This is prison news. It was from about 2 weeks ago, give or take, and it's about Lindholme prison. Lindholme, over near Doncaster way. I'm going to cover the story, link in the description below like I always do, and I'm going to do my bit at the end. Right, guys, so headline reads: prison visitors banned in Doncaster after positive drugs tests. More than a dozen visitors were banned from entering a prison in Doncaster after failing drugs tests. Police carried out checks at HMP Lindeholme yesterday as a part of a crackdown on illicit items being smuggled into the jail. 13 visitors were turned away after positive tests for drugs either on their person or in their vehicles. A 24-year-old man from Nottingham was arrested on suspicion of attempting to smuggle banned items into prison, and an investigation is underway. 2 people were prosecuted for driving without insurance and had their vehicles seized. The operation was carried out by members of South Yorkshire Police Fortify team, which targets serious organised crimes. Detective Inspector Steve Smith said, "We've been working in partnership with the prisons in the Doncaster area for a significant period of time now. And the message we are sending to both inmates and the visitors is simple. We know how important the contact you have during visiting times is. Please don't risk having this privilege taken away by thinking that you can outsmart the system. You can't. If you attempt to bring illicit items into a prison, they will be found and you will be arrested and possibly charged." And that's the story, guys. Now let me go into something right now. If you've never visited anyone in prison, this is for you, right? If you visit people in prison and you have done for a long time, you know what goes on. This is aimed at people that don't know. So what prisons are doing, prison intelligence, prison security, prison governors and the police up and down the country, some are more proactive than others. What they're doing is people are going to visits and stuff, turning up at, like, say it's Forest Bank in Salford. Forest Bank is on a private road in Salford near Age Cross Cemetery. You drive down a normal road and then you take a right to the prison. It's just one road. And then what they do, the police will lie in wait for you. They might have ANPR cameras set up so they can read your number plates if they've got markers on it for possession of offensive weapons, drugs, etc., etc. Drunk driving, drug driving, no insurance, no license. And they put markers on your vehicles, right? You turn up at the prison, right? What they're starting to do is they're starting to swab people's hands, right? Obviously, if you take illicit substances, you go out and sniff cocaine on a weekend, and you're there, it comes out your pores. They swab your hands, and it shows up for a drug. If you've got a drug in your system, the prisons say you can go on closed visits, or you don't go on the visit at all, right? Now, a lot of people turn up and say, well, I'm not going on closed visits, I've done nothing wrong, right? If you take a drug, right, say you smoked a bit of weed, right, it's illegal to possess weed, it's not legal to have smoked it. Do you understand? So, and this is what they're doing. And then what they're doing as well, they're swabbing steering wheels. And then once they've got you and they say, right, we're going to conduct a search of your vehicle. They then search your vehicle. A kid here was from Nottingham and he was arrested for trying to smuggle contraband into the jail. So he's travelled from Nottingham to go see his boy in Lindholme in the Doncaster area, turned up, obviously just bad luck for him, and he's been caught on that day and that time. I remember a girl contacting me from Forest Bank. She went to see a fella. She smokes weed. I think she's got like fibromyalgia or something. It's like a bone. It's like a joints and sort of bones and joints and stuff, and crippling pain. And what they do, they smoke weed to try and alleviate some of them symptoms, right? So she went to the visit and stuff, right? And what she'd done is she'd gone to the toilet. There was a toilet before she went in on the visit. She went to the toilet, washed her hands. 2 other women followed her, like went in after her. They washed their hands, didn't know each other. And what they'd done is when they come out, the prison said, right, we're going to swab you, and you. 3 of the women that went into the toilet, like in separate, they didn't know each other, not together, no conspiracy. The 3 of them went to the toilet at separate times before the visit started, before they went into the visit and all. Obviously went to the toilet, washed their hands, touched the tap, washed their hands, dried them off, came out, got swabbed, right? All 3 tested positive for heroin. right? Now, number one, there's a drugs bin in the toilet, right? Next to the toilet, there's a drugs bin for discarded needles and things like that, right? Apparently, from what I was told. I think she showed up for cannabis and cocaine, or no, cannabis and heroin. The other two women showed up for heroin, right? Which could be a cross-contamination between someone that's like, it's coming out of the pores, they've gone to wash their hands, another two people have come, and then they've all got residue, or like it's just seeping out of the pores. They all get swabbed, and then they say, right, you go on closed visits, or you go on closed visits for 3 months, or you don't come on a visit. It's disgusting. What you need to remember, guys, right, is, like I say, what people do in their own space and time, right? If you go and take cocaine every week and a powder in your nose every week, that's up to you, right? You go on a visit, it's coming out of your pores. You're not under the influence of the drug. You had it 2-3 days ago, right? A day ago, 2 days ago. You go to the prison, you get swabbed. They might swab your steering wheel, they might swab your mouth. And then this is all coming out and stuff. And then next minute, you put on closed visits for 3 months. And it's like, so that the prison are very stern with you and say, well, you either don't go on the visit or you go on closed visits. If you don't go on closed visits, then just walk away from the jail now. And it goes into some like silly intelligence file and stuff like that. And it's like they put a marker on you then, you understand? Now, what annoys me about this side of things is, Lord Farmer himself states that prisoners that receive visits whilst in prison are 39% less likely to reoffend. So why are they making it so hard? Right, I understand that you're trying to stop contraband getting in. I get that. Search your prison officers as well, because it's not just prisoners' families and prisoners' girlfriends and drones and every other way that we know that it comes into the prison. It's also prison officers, guys, as well. Let me state that for a fact. But like I say, 13 people, right, according to the headline. What's it say here? Well, yeah, sorry, they didn't even think it by the sounds of things. It's the start of the story is more than a dozen visitors were banned from entering a prison in Doncaster after failing drugs tests. Now, again, if people choose to take drugs and destroy their body and destroy their mind, that's their choice, right? If they're not caught in possession, if you're caught in possession of half a key of coke, right, or you know what I mean, a gram or whatever, a couple of grams, a bit personal or whatever, right? You're going to get nicked for possession of Class A. I get that. Obviously, the bigger the amounts and stuff, you could be going over the border into conspiracy to supply Class A and blah, blah, blah. But like I say, just because you might have had a cheeky spliff on the way down, or like you're a passenger and you've had a spliff or something, and then you get there and they swab your hands and stuff, and you've just recently put a joint out 2 minutes ago, right? Why should you be denied access to the jail? Doesn't mean that you're smuggling drugs in. Doesn't mean that you've you've had a little bit of cannabis or whatever. Like I say, if you're not in possession of the drug, the police can't do you for it. In America, they do you for like internal possession and stuff and all this shit, yeah, drug paraphernalia and stuff. In the UK, right, unless you're caught in possession of the drug, or like I say, there's a conspiracy and you're tied into it, and conspiracy just means that they don't have enough evidence on you to do you for, like I say, it could be to supply Class A drugs or import stupid amounts of Class A drugs and everything else, right? If you're not caught in possession of the drug, should you really be turned away from a prison? Really? And then they're putting markers on your vehicles and stuff. People are having the car seized because they're driving with no insurance. I get that. I get this. I get the police doing a Section 165 under the Road Traffic Act and seizing your car until you come with insurance and stuff. But what they're doing, I think it's wrong how they're targeting prisoners' friends and prisoners' families. I really, really do. And like I say, you've got 13, right, so what's he saying? More than a dozen visitors were banned from entering the prison, right? So if you've got one visitor coming up and they get stopped by the police and the police swab them and they say, oh, you've got drugs in your system from 2 days ago that we can't prove, but it's in your system, right? Then fucking you're not allowed on the visit. If you're the only visitor going to see that prisoner's getting ghosted. It's fucking wrong, man. I don't like it one bit. Anyway, guys, I've rambled on long enough. It's not about what I think, it's about what you think. Let me know in the comment section below. I'm back. I'm doing my thing. Like, comment, subscribe. Cody out.